Hello everyone, it is me, your lovely host, the Gaming Weasel, the Latron Prime, with its, of course, Latron Incarnon adapter is, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best weapons currently in Warframe. It honestly outshines pretty much all of the other Incarnon weapons, keeping in mind I still haven't tried out some of them, but by the way I see my clan talking about it in people and just in general chat, this weapon definitely shreds. Now, I sadly put my Incarnon adapter on the Latron Wraith, which is a much worse option than putting it on the Latron Prime. So don't be like me, don't be dumb, because I thought you could switch it out on any occasion, but sadly you cannot. So, smart YouTuber man right here, put it on the Latron Prime. Why? First of all, the best and honestly the main feature is because it has a higher puncture status value. It has 72 puncture instead of 43. Why is that important? Keep on watching and you'll find out. And basically every other stat is much higher, other than of course the critical chance, where there's a 4% difference between the Prime and the Wraith variant. So don't be dumb, pick the Latron Prime. The Incarnon adapter, what does this Incarnon form actually do with this weapon? Of course, once you reach it, which is not that hard, basically get 2 headshots and you're already in the Incarnon form, you get an explosive projectile that deals heat damage and of course the corresponding, status. It can do impact, puncture, and slash, but of course you're going to be doing primarily puncture, and it'll bounce up to 6 times and basically it'll explode up to 6 times. This weapon with the Incarnon evolution, which you're going to see in just a second, is incredibly good. Now that we talked about that, to which weapon to choose, let's actually go on to the actual Incarnon forms and evolutions as well. Now, the Latron Wraith, even though it is a little bit worse than of course the Latron Prime, of course the first evolution is the actual Incarnon form. Basically everything works out the same as with of course the Prime variant. The only difference is these two stats have an increased damage by 12 instead of 6 like with the Latron Prime, but I have chosen Riddled Target, increased damage by 12% on puncture status effect. This is going to be incredibly good, and you'll see when we get to the modding section real quick. And of course 25% multi-shot for 8 seconds, that will stack up to 4 times. Then Evolution 3 is basically something that will help you out, sort of I guess a convenience more than anything useful. We have of course 60% minus recoil, increased magazine capacity, and then more zoom. I personally chose increased magazine capacity because of course recoil can be somewhat controlled with stabilizer, so I'm not really worked up about this. But Evolution 4 is something that is extremely good, and what makes this weapon the best weapon in the game at the moment, and basically clearing out any single enemy type. Now, we have Deadhead, 100% to headshot multiplier. Pretty cool, all fine and dandy, but this is an AoE weapon. We don't want this. We don't want to aim for heads. Then we have Critical Parallel. There you go. This will increase our critical chance by 24% and our multiplier by 0.2. Well, this is okay, but honestly pretty trash. You might be asking why. Well, we have Flensing Spikes. Remove 20% of enemy armor per puncture status. This is what makes this weapon incredibly good. But with this, basically what you can do is remove the enemy's armor really fast. As I have told you in the beginning, the Incarnon form of this weapon basically fires explosive projectiles that bounce up to 6 times, leading up to a lot of enemies having no armor. So this is what makes this very good. And now for the actual modding section. Now, basically with this weapon, we're going to be doing somewhat of an interesting thing. We're not going to be using viral, we don't want hunter munitions, we don't want anything of that. We basically want as much puncture as humanly possible. Now, as I said, my mistake was choosing the Latron Wraith, but with the, of course, Latron Prime, you're gonna have more puncture than, of course, any other status, and sometimes I do proc impact, but of course, why are we building this weapon like this? Well, because as I said, of the 4th Incarnon form, we want puncture to proc basically as much as humanly possible. We want it to proc more than heat, and when the explosion does happen, more than impact. We basically want puncture all the way to remove as much armor as humanly possible in the fastest way possible. So Galvanized Chamber, Vigilante Armaments, Multi-Shot, very, very good. We need critical damage and also status chance, so this is where Hammer Shot comes in. Vile Acceleration and Firestorm are my two personal, I guess, mods that I put in. Instead of Firestorm, a Bane mod could be, of course, incredibly good, or even Prime Firestorm. I was using I guess actual gameplay was with the Firestorm equipped, but a Bane mod is always an amazing thing to have. We have Piercing Caliber, of course, for more puncture. We need this because, as I said, we want procs of puncture to proc as much as humanly possible. And of course, Critical Delay and Vital Sense and Primary Merciless. Inside of the Exilus slot, of course, we have a couple of things. You can put Vigilante Supplies for that extra 5% critical chance. Honestly, I think you don't need it. Stabilizer is much, much better. So basically, you get 15% extra magazine capacity, and you basically get the other one, which is minus 60% recoil. And there you go. You have sort of, in one evolution, you have two sort of options already equipped. So that is very, very nice. And that's basically it for the modding section. Basically meaning that this weapon is incredibly good. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention is that, of course, the 4th Incarnon also removes armor from basically anything applicable, and that also does include Acolytes and Demolist units, and this weapon basically shreds through those. Honestly, I love using, for example, the Spore Laser Kit Gun against some Acolytes, actually all of the Acolytes, but this weapon honestly does an incredible job and being a perfect balance between basically the Latum and also the Spore Laser. It doesn't completely obliterate the actual Acolyte, but it's also incredibly good at killing a lot of enemies real fast. Basically meaning that this is also a jack of all trades weapon. Bring this weapon alongside with you, you can destroy everything and anything that interferes in front of you. As I said, hope you guys, of course, enjoy the weapon, choose the Latron Prime, don't be a smartass like me, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, do leave a like, a comment, and do subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys on the next one. This has been the Gaming Weasel, over and out.